Our next question comes from Springfield, Ohio, and it's this. Ecclesiastes 9, verse 5 says, "For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing. So then they have no knowledge of the lapse of time. If they're in the grave for 6,000 years, it would be no more than a wink of an eye, or like going to bed at night and waking up in the morning. This would also mean that sinners are not in hell being tormented at this time, but are sleeping in their graves. The trouble I have with this is the story that Jesus told about the rich man and Lazarus. It says that the rich man was in hell and lifted up his eyes, being in torment. I believe the dead are all sleeping until the resurrection time. So the story has me puzzled. Could you help me in my understanding of this issue?"
Well, I'm not surprised it would puzzle you, since you believe that they're all sleeping, because they're not. You fail to make a distinction between the fact that man has a soul and a spirit. Man is a triune being like God in that sense. And man has a body, and when he dies, it's the body that's put in the grave. The psychological part, then, is not needed anymore because it functions through the body. But the spirit of man goes into the presence of Christ if he's a Christian. Now, we're talking about a Christian here, absent from the body, present with the Lord. And I do not know this, but I'm beginning to believe that 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter, refer to an intermediate body that we have. Paul says, I know that if the tabernacle, this tent that I'm living in down here, and that's all you and I live in, is this very feeble tent that we have, and it could go out at any time. It's amazing today the number of people you read that are being killed on the highways. Just what's happening? Well, these bodies that you and I live in, friend, are very feeble and frail. You can't put them on a freeway in a car and run up against a truck or another car going 60 miles an hour. These bodies are frail. They're temporary, very temporary. And so we move out of that, and I think have a temporary one. And that's the one that Paul is talking about. I don't want to spend a lot of time waiting for the rest of you people to get up there just wandering around as a spirit. I'd be tickled to death to have a body I can use, and I hope it's a little better than the one I'm using right now, because the one I'm using right now is getting pretty old, and in fact matter, it's almost useless. So that the Lord has one prepared, and the Spirit goes there. And this part is misunderstood, the Scripture altogether. And I suspect that you are a Jehovah's Witness, or you would not believe as you do about that, because this idea is known as soul sleep. The soul doesn't sleep, but it's only the body that's put in the grave, and there's nothing else in there but that body, because the spirit is gone to be with Christ. If you're a Christian, it's gone to the other place. Now, the word for hell should be translated Hades. Hell has not been opened up yet to do business. You won't find that till you get to Revelation. And therefore, these places where Hades has been translated by hell, it is not accurate translation at all.